welcome to Otaku Saga. I'm Zero.
I'm DK.
And I'm Rizzo, and today on Anime Reaction, we experience the second episode of Occultic 9.
Experienced indeed.
If you want to check out our reaction to the second episode of Occultic 9, hit that link in the description below.
And be sure to give us feedback in the comment section because we love hearing from you.
And as always, if you like what you see, subscribe to Otaku Saga. And don't forget to like and share our videos.
And thanks for watching.
Oh man, there's so much going on in this episode.
Once again, that fucking happened.
So I just want to start out with the very beginning, where it shows Mew doing a live stream. I forget that streaming service, but it's a particular one where it has the word scrolling across. It's one that's very popular in Japan. But she does a live stream of her doing over the phone fortune telling. And so the first customer the first caller that it shows her get is just some guy who literally called in just to be an asshole and call her names and
try to discredit her.
Yeah, I would take what he's saying with a grain of salt, because honestly, he probably just made up the cancer thing just to be like, oh, well, you're obviously a fraud, you fucking skank. But, I mean, the real thing is that there's a problem with the way that those students are doing that live stream. And I kind of do have sort of experience with something similar, because I did like over the phone customer service with a certain wireless carrier that I won't name. But when you're doing over the phone customer service or tech support or anything like that, there is a certain point where you're allowed to just go, I don't have to deal with you. Click. And like straight up what that guy was doing was being an abusive caller. Calling names, saying, basically curse word, like cursing at him, just being an all around nasty person.
Yeah, and you don't have to deal with that.
And
no one does.
Radio shows that have live callers have something similar too. Because being a nighttime security guard, I very often listen to late night radio shows, and most of those radio shows allow people to call in. And so, if you're cursing, they'll drop you like right away. Like the first time they might mute you and go, hey, you need to watch your language. Second time it happens, you're gone. But also, if the person calls in and they're just like straight up being abusive and talking over the hosts and just being an asshole, you're an asshole. Click.
Pretty much.
Like I've actually heard a radio host go, "You're an asshole." Click. I mean, it's just something you're allowed to do. Now, what I think would help them is somebody fielding calls. It might not help too much because obviously the person could just go, it could just be all nice and whatever, and then they get on the air and they're like, you fucking skank, like this guy was doing. So, I mean, it might not help that much, but it would help to have somebody, because obviously Mew is kind of a, I won't say weak person, but she doesn't have that kind of personal strength where you could just like shut down somebody who's being an asshole like that. Like basically both times that we saw her field calls, it was somebody who was basically calling her out as being a fraud. And she kind of just shut down both times. Of course, the second time she just decided to go ahead and do the fortune telling for the guy anyway. But she did kind of shut down for a moment on both times.
Yeah. And
the first time she just straight up shut down. It would help to have somebody there as kind of a co-host to just, be like, to just basically mute the call or whatever, like mute the other guy's voice and just talk over them and be like, hey, there's no call being an asshole. You're probably lying about the cancer. you can't prove that you have cancer unless you actually like come up here with your medical records. So for all we know, you're a fucking fraud. Well, obviously you wouldn't want to do quite that far, but you do have to have the somebody with that kind of I guess mental strength to be able to do that.
And at the same time, if you did have cancer and you called into a fortune teller and they gave you good news that you're gonna be living in 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, you could take it one of two ways. If you're completely skeptical about fortune telling anyway, you probably wouldn't actually be calling into a fortune teller. Like if you don't believe in it at all anyway, then there'd be no reason for you to call in, and that probably wouldn't happen. If you're not, however, then obviously take it with a grain of salt. Well, in this series, it's true that she actually has fortune telling.
It's
nobody
true,
knows that.
But there's that bit in the real. It's kind of based in reality where the whole world in general doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah, is very skeptical about it. But I mean, you could take it more with a grain of salt, but also take it as kind of it's very important to keep a positive attitude, and you could take it as something that could help give you a more positive outlook on your situation. And positivity is very important.
But continuing on with what you were saying, Rizzo, I watched a live stream that Bungie themselves were doing for a Destiny thing. It was going to be a community thing. They were going to bring in people, and they were going to help people go to the lighthouse during a Crucible weekend. And they were getting help through a clan called the Dames of Destiny, which is a primarily female clan. All right, primarily, but the leader of that clan was hanging with the leader, the community leader from Bungie, and this guy comes in, joins up, just to say, you all are a bunch of idiotic bitches, and then left.
And pretty much the same thing. Very abusive person.
He recorded that video and recorded himself, like as the streamer, I guess.
So he did it in a stream just to do it?
No, actually, you can find the video on YouTube.
Oh wow!
Like he recorded himself getting on the mic, yelling at them, and then laughing about him because haha trolls.
My, what an impact you made.
Honestly, if I had it my way, I'd probably stick something through his neck, but I can't be that violent.
Sometimes you want to, but you just can't.
No, I mean, it really is insignificant.
A lot of times you, like, especially with like trolls on the internet, you just have to ignore them.
Ignore them or dismiss them.
If you ignore them, they're not going to get any pleasure out of their situation.
Or dismiss them entirely.
But in this case, it's very hard to ignore them because they basically just belittled Destiny and the clan leader in front of literally tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
It was a horrifying experience for both of them. And at that point they realized, all right, well, we need to figure out how to mediate things. So they've turned everything that they've done into sub only. So the only way that you're going to get into what they're doing is if you pay the subscription, which is $5.
Yeah.
So if you want to troll, you gotta pay them. They have no problem with you trolling at that point.
Yeah.
They got your money.
Because at that point,
and then they can find out who you are and just block you.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's...
We literally just spent like 10 minutes on that one scene.
Oh.
That really did irritate me at the beginning, though. It's like, wow, really?
It's like, we don't have mediators.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing to say on the internet right now. We don't have mediators. We do mediating. We
kind of mediate ourselves.
Yeah.
We also don't get nearly as much flack, actually, from
we've been
trolls.
very blessed with a fantastic comment section.
Mm.
There's only been like 4 comments throughout our entire year so far that has been like, oh, you weebo faggots, oh, you're so gay, oh, you're whatever.
Yeah. That and like one 4chan thread that got swept aside in a matter of like seconds.
And one of our videos getting stolen and putting on one of those websites.
Huh.
I actually didn't know about that.
First I heard of it. Got a link?
There, actually, it was sent to us on Twitter.
Mm.
But this actually bugs me a little bit more than the trolls. Our video is put up onto a service like this and quote unquote critiqued by who knows what, with like 42,000 views.
Wow.
Dang.
That actually really bugs me.
Mm. Yeah, that kind of
because it didn't give any sort of credit to us. So nobody who saw that video will ever see our content other than through that streaming service. It's kind of sad.
That is kind of sad.
But now that we're off of the streaming shit, let's actually get on with some of the stuff that happened in here.
Yeah, that does kind of hit close to home, so
it really
had to be addressed.
It really does. So
another million-mile-an-hour mind fuck.
I have a decent time keeping up with it. I'm not sure exactly how that works because I don't keep up with normal paced shit.
To be completely honest, like I don't do that many comments during this show, and that's because I'm like
trying to process
almost
it all
of my physical processing power.
It's like
to try to keep up with what's going on.
I'm in the same boat, and it's always like this with mystery anime. I have to use every neuron, every brain cell I can muster to focus on this. Otherwise, like it or not, I'm just going to sit there in stunned silence, really. You know,
it's not actually like that in all mystery anime for me.
Okay.
Like there's been quite a few where actually for a vast majority of them I don't have a problem keeping up. This one's just a little bit.
It's all over the place.
It's not just that it's fast paced, but it's all over the place. So
yeah.
You get the bit with Mew at the beginning, and then you jump back to Yuta in the murder scene, and then you jump to the Shun Moritsuka.
Yeah, I'm talking about the police and
Moritsuka.
Flip those two, but okay. Flip those two.
No,
whatever. It flips around really quickly, and then you go back to Mew, and then it's like. I think that's the bit that really gets me in this show is that it's so
how often it goes back.
Yeah, it's so all over the place with its characters.
So as we're getting into what happened in this episode, a couple details that should be pointed out. There was a conversation between Shun Moritsuka.
Yeah.
Who I think is some sort of detective or a reporter. It doesn't really...
No,
I think it's more
he would have to be a detective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, because he was the first in the crime scene, and the actual cops are taking him seriously, so...
Yep.
Yeah, kind of a...
Even though he looks like he's about 12.
But they were taking him seriously, so there's some credit to this.
Yeah.
But he was on the phone with somebody else. We don't hear that side of the conversation, unfortunately, but he was talking about getting a list. You need to have all 256 of them, and something about the tooth being missing, and that's where we lead into that's where we lead into back to what was it? Utah. He also mentions that the list might not even be in this world, so apparently he understands that there is a different world out there that.
Well, he did mention the professor who was murdered in the last episode wrote a message in blood, the word code.
Yep.
And then he goes on to mention, and then Shun goes on to mention that this list is probably encoded, all the paperwork destroyed. But I guess we're going to learn soon what it's a list of.
Yep.
Because in the preview, you see that the massive key that Yuta dug from the professor's jaw with a pair of pliers, that was brutal. You see in the preview that gets opened next week.
That's the exact tooth, by the way, that is in pain in my face right now.
Oh. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't watched it already, well then, one, what's wrong with you? Watch it first. And two, get some Novocaine.
Right? But, so...
Sorry, I just wanted to add to the tooth thing. Ever since I got my wisdom teeth out, I got my wisdom teeth out like really late too. Like I think I was like 21 at the time.
Oh, okay.
So,
oh man,
but ever since I got my wisdom teeth out, I cannot stand watching, like in fiction, watching somebody get a tooth pulled.
It just triggers.
I cannot stand it. And then the just the way that it was, because it's a key that's like that long in his lower jaw. I don't even know how that fit in there.
Like, could you imagine getting put in?
Right?
Yeah, no, I can't.
It just reminds me of my wisdom teeth again, because I had gnarly freaking roots to those things.
Same here.
I am so fortunate. I actually get to keep all four of mine. I know. The resident idiot here gets to keep the wisdom teeth. Beautiful irony, right?
Anyway, what were you going to say?
So, yeah, and then we... After that conversation on the phone, we switch over to Yuta, who, as you stated, pulls out the tooth by the instruction of somebody in a radio signal coming from his backpack.
Well, it did show in the previous episode that he carries around this I guess, shortwave radio.
And someone was able to get
everywhere.
Yeah, and the fact that someone was able to get a signal in on the frequency he had set without being there to see what frequency it's set to.
Well, they could obviously hear him.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering if they had the office bugged.
Yeah.
So they might have just tried frequencies until they could hear themselves.
Fair enough.
But yeah, she goes off on him. I love it. I love that reaction. That whole scene was in my eyes was hysterical and awesome.
Yeah.
But so Yuta has a key, notices the code thing, and the girl who was on the radio obviously knows something else is up, because why the hell does she know that there's a key in Professor's tooth?
You know, that whole scene reminded me, I think DK said it during the reaction, but it reminded me of an early scene in The Matrix where it's like, you have 30 seconds, you know.
So yeah, with Morpheus is on the phone with Neo in his office building.
There's a movie, oh man, what was it? Had Shia LaBeouf in it. Was it like Eagle Eye or something like that?
Eagle Eye, yeah.
They're basically in that movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. It is quite a good movie actually. But there's like a supercomputer that the government made that like predicts certain events,
right?
Or is supposed to predict certain events and certain outcomes of political situations. But that computer calls him on the phone and then sets him up as like a terrorist by sending him like just a lump sum of cash in his bank account and then tons of like fertilizer and high explosives and stuff, and then basically calls him on the phone and is like, okay, you know, you got agents coming to you, you have 30 seconds to leave your apartment via this route.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very reminiscent of that.
Actually, that might be the better comparison, because the theory I have is that the voice on the radio was Ririka Nishizono, the mangaka that Shun mentions, because he says that the crime scene is actually depicted in one of her manga.
Which actually may bring up some more occultic abilities.
Ooh.
Because obviously we have Mew who has future sight. She may have some other type of future sight, except a little bit more.
You know, if it is the way that I'm thinking, if you've ever seen the show Heroes, at the very beginning of the show's run, there was an artist that could see into the future when he was painting. Maybe she can see into the future when she's drawing manga.
Exactly that.
Nice.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
She has to draw BL manga to see into the future.
I don't know about you, but I think the future looks shitty.
Well, that guy actually was like, he was making comics of his own in the show. It's just like he was piecing them together. He was actually no, he was selling them.
Yeah, he was selling them, but he was piecing them together via paintings that he made.
Yeah. All right, and then there was this scene. I don't understand why Mew and Ryoka. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the fuck they were doing over at Arya's.
I think
Ryoka literally spent almost $700 to curse Yuta.
YouTube money.
It was Ryoka's money. It wasn't even Mew who paid.
Well, also, I mean, Ryoka and Yuta run the site as well, and they get money from that.
They don't get.
I don't think she gets that. They give that much money. It's supposed to be a weird, like, unpopular site. But she literally spent almost $700. Well, I mean, technically she hasn't paid it yet, but she was willing to just pony up almost $700 to curse Yuta for what?
There is literally no description of why they were there in the first place.
I don't think
there was no lead up to. You'd think that there would be a talking point where Ryoka says, "Hey, Mew, let's go look at this place,"
or something.
And I think that they were looking at something last time, but
I think maybe they thought that Arya is a sham and just wanted to do something fun, albeit expensive as hell.
There's better ways to spend $700.
I know, but Ryoka
to troll somebody.
But Ryoka is kind of a moron. So
you can say that again.
But don't.
I'll say it 3 times. No.
Ryoka is kind of a moron.
That's kind of a moron. Ryoka is a fucking idiot.
World class.
It all got put someplace else.
Oh, damn.
That's where all the nutrients went.
I'll give you a pro tip, those aren't brains.
But, and then we...
As if they were.
For brains.
Let's see, and then there's... I can only assume that it's a continuation of a murder spree. Because we get a live call to Mew from Sarai? Sarai?
Yeah, Sarai.
Apparently he was a celebrity. That's what the thing.
Well, yeah.
Going off.
So he's famous for something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we actually get introduced to him here, don't we?
Mm-hmm. But basically he calls into Mew's live stream, says, "My name is Sarai," and then like you see all the scrolling text go, "Oh my God, it's Sarai!" So he's famous for something.
And he calls to try to debunk Mew as well.
Yeah, basically he's like, well, every fortune teller I've talked to has to have a second job in order to keep doing fortune telling. You'd think that they'd be able to know the exact correct path that they should take in order to be able to just do fortune telling or to not have to do anything at all. So that means that you must be fake too.
But then Miu just shuts him down with an actual
She's like,
fortune.
Well,
You're probably just a lost puppy yourself, so activate.
Yeah.
And gets a murder scene about his father.
Yeah.
Like,
that sends him into that.
And basically, it's just like, you know, if you want to reconcile with your father, now's the time.
like you need to do it right now.
Yeah, you're going to regret it if you wait at all.
Oh, you threaten me or something? Oh, wait, how dare you?
No. You don't get this. I can't change destiny, but you can. So get your ass moving. While she's literally in tears. So yeah, that was actually pretty intense. I liked it. And then at the very end, the other key detail is with Miu and
Her friend.
Chiri?
She's not on the character list.
Yeah, she's not listed.
She's probably dead.
Yeah,
I
because
wouldn't be surprised.
she gets
But yeah,
yoinked,
basically with Miu and her friend from school, they're walking, and her friend's talking about a parakeet that she wants to get because Miu had a vision with her and a bird, and then when they part ways, Miu gets a text message with a picture from her friend, and it's like I can't remember what she was supposed to be taking a picture of, but it was a
card. It was one of her cards.
One of the tarot
it was
cards.
one of her cards, and there was like a ghost hand in the picture. And then so Miu texts her like, "What is this?" And then doesn't get an answer, so she tries to call her, and it's like, "I'm sorry, the number you have reached is either out of a service area or disconnected."
Something that was pointed out, we got her name here just because it's from the My Anime List character sheets, but there was a character, and I actually pointed out in the opening because I thought it very strange that she has a Millennium Eye freaking pendant. It's basically like if you took the Millennium Puzzle and you, instead of it being like a big
old pyramid,
you actually just scrunched it down and then you added a bunch of like the little nail things on the side.
Rivets.
It's almost like an all-seeing eye type.
But it's like the Millennium Ring had those directional points. Those things. It was like you took the Millennium Ring and the Millennium Puzzle and you put them together. That's what it was. That's what it looks like to me. Anyway, she had that as she was walking past Miu, following
Victim.
That's the only thing I can think of as victim.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I have for this episode. Finally.
Yeah, that's all that you have. Another small detail. All of Miu's cards are self-drawn.
Yeah, she looks
From her
like
childhood.
it looks like she drew them when she was a child.
This is like beyond interesting to me as a fan of the occult. Beyond interesting. But maybe we'll get into that some other time because I think we've ran this video very long enough.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to check out our reaction to the first episode of Occultic 9, go ahead and hit this link.
You mean our experience?
Yes.
And here's a podcast of all the anime that we were talking. Here is a link to our podcast where we talk about all the anime that we're going to be watching this season.
If you're like me and Zero and need to give your brain a rest, check out OS Gaming, our gaming channel.
And if you'd like to help support us, go ahead and hit this link and it'll take you over to our Patreon. But let us know what you thought of this anime and what you thought of our reaction in the comment section below.
Yeah, thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't.
But that's gonna do it for this episode of Anime Reaction. I'm DK.
I'm Zero.
And I'm Rizzo. See you next time.